Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in action after the week off. We had UFC Shanghai a couple Saturdays ago. Nothing last Saturday. Hopefully you enjoyed, the holiday weekend. I mean, to me, it's not really much of a holiday, but there was the week off, and now we get UFC Paris, and I'm itching for it. We've had the Contender Series along the way, but nothing like some Saturday fights, man. We had to wake up early on UFC Shanghai, and now we get the ideal time to be watching fights, in my opinion, is from noon to 7 p.m. Nothing's messed up. Just spend your entire Saturday watching some fights, hopefully cashing some bets, and hopefully we will cash some bets. We got a perfect guest for UFC Paris, Pepe Silvia. Appreciate you for joining me tonight on the live stream. One of the sharpest guys that I know, and one of the few people on social media, that is just all about getting the winners out there and being sharp. So appreciate you for taking the time out of your day. If you're not familiar with Pepe, I'm not sure where you've been, but you can find him on X. I got the link down in the description below. How you doing tonight, brother? Appreciate you.
What's good? Hey, Drive. Thanks for having me on. Super excited for this card. We're in Paris, France. The French cards are always super lit, so I expect nothing less. And the main event, super intriguing. Nasruddin Imavov, someone I've been really high on, who I've been supporting through much of his UFC career against Kyle. These two guys are super good, very intriguing matchup. And then the co-main is just complete fireworks. So yeah, I'm really excited for this card, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Paris cards. They just hit a little bit different because I like the overseas cards because we get some new faces, some regional guys making their UFC debuts, some guys that don't fight all that often and they'll only wait for these cards in those other regions. And we've had quite a few of them in the past couple months. We had Baku, we had Shanghai, we had Abu Dhabi as well. So we've been out in the eastern part of the world for quite some time. I'm excited for this one. I think the main event is going to be, whoever wins that is going to get the next title shot. So at least with a good performance, maybe if RDR. Are you an RDR truther or no?
No, I'm not, dude. I'm a RDR fader, bro.
Hey, I was a truther, and then I got cold feet against Bo Nickel. And then I'm just ever since then, I'm all right, he's the truth. He's the truth, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't bet him against, or I didn't bet Whitaker against him, but I haven't bet RDR once in his run, and he's like DDP, bro. I continue to discredit him, and he keeps coming through as an underdog. And for his upcoming fight against Fluffy, I'm like, no, there's no way he can do it again. Not to Fluffy, bro. Not to Fluffy.
Real quick, no breakdown at all. Fluffy or RDR right now? Where do you think? If you had to put money on it, where would you want it?
Oh, Fluffy for sure.
Fluffy?
1,000. Dude, he's RDR can't keep getting away with it is my way of thinking.
Yeah, exactly. It's like DDP, he got away with it for so long, but finally when he got the matchup he hadn't faced yet, it's exactly how it went, Everybody
Yeah, exactly. And I think Fluffy, the cardio dynamic is going to be insane. Whitaker is just washed. Even DDP was out grappling him super easily. And yeah, I think Fluffy's in his prime right now. Yeah, I would be, but it's funny because the biggest weakness Fluffy has shown is susceptibility to the body. Yeah. And RDR has those body kicks. So I mean, I would not be surprised if he just got away with it again.
Exactly. One knee to the body and it's over for Fluffy.
Yeah.
All right. I want to pull up these fights. I'm going to read a couple chats, and then we will hop right into the breakdown. And we can talk some betting angles. Jacob Gilly, having two Wisconsin fighters face each other is crazy. I saw that today. I don't know if you saw it either, Pepe, but Dante Johnson versus Nick Klein at the Apex. Two Wisconsinites. And Dante Johnson going down to middleweight. And Dante Johnson's a dude that I played football with. So I mean, honestly, when I first saw the matchup, I was like, dude, Dante, easy KO. But Nick Klein is a motherfucker. Round one, getting on top and getting to the back. And I don't know how good Dante's jiu-jitsu is. So we'll see. But that is criminal. Put two Wisconsinites against each other at the Apex.
Only one will walk out alive.
Does Pepe have a place you can get his picks or content, or he just does this shit for fun now? Let you take that, Pepe.
Yeah, I give my stuff out on X. So my handle is at Pepe_Silvia716. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, shoot me a DM, and I'll chat fights with you.
I believe you got a couple bets on Paris that you put out.
I mean, I tweet out some of my bets. I don't tweet out all of my bets. I don't like to give everything out, but if I think there's like a ton of value still on a line and I've already gotten down everything that I want, then I'll put it out.
Basically, you get his sloppy seconds. He'll smash the line down.
Exactly.
And if it's still okay, he'll let you know.
That's how everyone should be.
Yeah. Roofie by KO, just bet it and let him do the work. I'm sure Pepe will have something to say about that. Why Pepe rocking a bandana over his face like he's from the slums in the thumbnail? Yeah, that's actually a sick thumbnail.
Dude, it was during COVID, so give me a break.
Okay, that makes sense. Questions. Beside the co-main event in Paris, what is the best fight on this card? Personally, I think the best fight on the card, or at least the one I'm most looking forward to, is probably Borralho versus Mason Jones. I think that's probably the best stylistically. That could be like a banger of a fight, and I'm interested to see how it plays out. What about you?
Pitbull Keita.
Pitbull Keita. That was my second option. Outside, man, I want to see how that one plays out as well. Dr. Peener in the chat. RDR got them long legs and big lips. You know you love them. Shout out to Dr. Peener. All right, we can't get through all these chats, but shout out to Young Pasty and Jason Comtois. Maybe that's French. Maybe it is. Let's go down to the first fight of the night. We got a real banger here to start us off. Shauna Bannon taking on Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is 5-5 in the UFC. Never been a favorite, and now here she is as a -3XX favorite to Shauna Bannon. I believe we were in the same boat last time with Shauna Bannon, fading her with Pooja Tomar. And that was just heartbreaking, man. I was at the Hard Rock Hotel watching it with Maddie Betts. And I'm like, dude, Pooja's going to get this one done. I'm telling him to bet her. And she was, I believe she was up 2-1 on the scorecards in round one, but I don't think she won. I don't think she won round one. And then she head kicked Shauna Bannon in round two. I'm yelling at the TV, Pooja, let her up. Let her up. The armbar from guard is coming. And Shauna Bannon gets the armbar from guard. And Pooja literally gave it to her after she was safe. But either way, Shauna Bannon is now 2-1 in the UFC, which is pretty crazy to me. But I don't really think she's had any good wins. So Sam Hughes going to come in here as the favorite for the first time in her UFC career. What do you think about the betting odds here? How do you see it going out?
Yeah. Well, going back to that Pooja fight, I was on Pooja also. And yeah, like apparently she was up. She had won round one on 2 scorecards, and then she was going to win round 2. So it was pretty safe to say she would have won that fight. But like going back and watching it, like I kind of thought Bannon edged it out a little bit. Like, I don't know. So like I thought it was a good bet, but I don't think it was like a great bet. But on this fight, like, Bannon has been a favorite in all 3 of her fights, and she's 2-1. Say what you will about her performances, but she's still 2-1. The performance against Ardeline is actually aging pretty well. Ardeline just dogged out Ione dos Santos 30-27. Granted, she took the fight against Bannon on short notice. Mm-hmm. I think the money line's a bit aggressive on Sam Hughes being this big of a favorite. Personally, that's just the way I see it. I don't see Hughes getting a finish. Like, some people might be chasing the 2-3 props. I tend to think those are a bit wishful thinking. I see it going to the decision. I think the value is on Bannon, but she's not someone I want to put my money on personally. So I'm not a believer, but I think just like big picture, I think it's got to be a dog or pass.
Yeah, I think it's super aggressive. I'd say
Yeah.
minus 300 on Sam Hughes is like, I don't think it should be available to anybody because it's like you're asking for trouble. I mean, Sam Hughes has overcome the odds many times. Like she's 5-5, never been a favorite, so she's cashed as an underdog, and now all of a sudden, she's minus 3xx, and it's not like she's dominating these girls. Like she's going to close fights. She's basically being in 50-50 fights where she's edging it a little bit in most of her wins. I think she had like one TKO against Elise Reed or whatever, but it's mostly close decisions. And Shauna Bannon, for all her faults, just that weird like sidekick stuff that she does, like it is tough for girls to figure that out. And I don't really think Sam Hughes is like some amazing striker. I would make her the favorite, but I'd probably make her like, minus 200 maybe. I don't really think there's a ton of value on Sam Hughes. I don't really think there's any value on Sam Hughes. And I think Shauna Bannon might hold a little bit of value. I mean, Shauna Bannon by decision is what, plus 275. I think there's a plus 350 or something out here. Yeah, plus 350. I mean, I think it's going to go to decision. So, I mean, it's kind of in the hands of the judges, and you got Sam Hughes traveling across the ocean to go over into enemy territory. I know Shauna Bannon's Irish. I don't know what's the relationship between France and Ireland.
Well, they do have a bunch of the Graham Boylan's fighters on this card. He's like the guy who runs Cage Warriors. And so I think that, she has a following in Europe. I think she could steal some rounds. I think she hits a little harder than Hughes, to be honest with you. So I think she could steal rounds by having moments. The biggest thing that you have to worry about is her getting taken down. Her takedown defense looks pretty bad, but it's not like Hughes has been like this prolific wrestler throughout her career. So yeah, I think split decision, as people like to play, super live here.
Yeah, I mean, Shauna Bannon got taken down a couple times by Ardeline, and she still won the fight. And she was on her back for, I think, 5 minutes of the fight. So it's not really like she can't win if she gets taken down. Like she's just screwed. The dog father is in the chat. So sick of these people glazing this Pepe guy. I couldn't agree more, dog father. I couldn't agree more. All right, let's move on from the women's MMA. We're both saying the values on the dog there. This is a fun one. Andreas Gustafsson taking on Renat Fakhretdinov. Fakhretdinov hasn't fought in nearly a year since he lost to Carlos Leal, but still managed to get his hand raised. And, he's on a nice little streak. He's never lost in the UFC, but he does have the draw to Easy D. And Gustafsson absolutely ragdoll Chaos Williams in his UFC debut and kind of shocked a lot of people. He was the underdog there. Now he's a slight favorite. And Renat Fakhretdinov has been pretty consistent, heavy favorite in most of his fights. And now he is a very slight dog. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, shout out to Gustafsson. My biggest cash ever was the Gustafsson by decision at plus 800.
That was insane, dude. I was watching it. So I just didn't have the balls to pull the trigger. I just didn't have the balls because on my breakdown, I literally watched it back today because I'm pretty confident I said exactly how the fight was going to go, and that's how it happened. And I just didn't bet it. I'm like, Gustafsson, never been knocked out. If he gets his game going, it could snowball, and Gustafsson could, take this one by decision because Chaos is tough as well. And I just didn't have the balls to bet it. So props to you for having the nuts to bet it. Bet it big as well.
I had $3,000 on the decision prop, and I was freaking out, like pacing around the bar because I had no money on the money line. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like he might finish him in round 2 or 3. And like, I'm just going to completely lose on this. So thankfully Chaos is tough as a motherfucker.
Yeah. He 10-8'd him round 3. So
yeah, dude, I was sweating bullets for sure. Dude, I kind of think we can go back to the well with the Gustafsson decision, although it's not nearly as good of a price. But I think he's gonna possibly struggle early here with Renat. When Renat's fresh, he's very good. His striking is just way more clean than Gustafsson. Keep in mind the Chaos Williams fight was short notice for Chaos. Chaos didn't have a camp for that. It was a short notice replacement. And Chaos Williams can't grapple. Like Renat can actually grapple. His wrestling is super legit. So I don't think Gustafsson's going to be able to have the same kind of success that he did against Chaos. So I kind of think Renat is going to win round one. I think he's going to land hard. His striking is pretty ugly too, but he hits with a lot of power early. Like he dropped Dalby, he dropped Battle, he dropped Dos Santos. Like he's dropping a lot of these guys, but the one thing you can count on with Gus is he's going to fight through any adversity. So I think Gus live bet and Gus by decision is the way that I want to approach this fight.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to go too. Or even the round 3 or decision. You might get like plus 160 compared to the plus 200 on the decision for Gus. So you don't got to sweat that round 3 because we know Fakhretdinov is can be a gas bag, especially when guys push a pace. I mean, Easy D 10-8'd him in round 3 as well for that draw. I mean, I think it's the same thing. I mean, these guys are kind of similar in the way that they strike. Like, I think Fakhretdinov's better striker, but he's so loopy at times. Like, I think if you're going to knock out Gus, you got to have like some really sharp hands. You got to be like a wrestle boxer to be able to hit him in these tight spaces because he's just not going to give you the range to work. So I think Gus gets his game going. Early on, it could be a little bit dicey as well because, Fakhretdinov, in all reality, probably could take him down early on as well. I just think Gus is going to be able to get back up to his feet, continue making him work. And in the clinch, man, he just cooks people. Like, that was a big reason why I thought he would beat Chaos Williams is because there's not really a style like Gustafsson that you see in any fights unless you fight him. Like, nobody's really doing that. So it's a very tough fighter to prepare for. And even if you try to prepare for it, like, you're not going to be in the realm of where Gustafsson is at in the clinch. Sergio said, watch your short clip on Gustafsson. Did you see all the lifts that he's like doing? Like, this dude is insanely strong.
He's an absolute animal. I follow him on Instagram. He's always doing like these crazy ass workouts.
I can't believe how much that dude lifts. Like, I know a good amount from lifting from my football days, and like power cleans are fucking easy. And like, this dude's just throwing up like 300 pounds like it's nothing. And we're talking about like a Greco-Roman wrestler that you need a lot of that strength, that upper body strength, big back. And I think that, can give him some advantages in this spot against a more traditional, wrestler in Fakhretdinov.
Dude, his neck is fucking huge.
Yeah, I mean, well, he doesn't really have a neck. He's got a fucking traps from his shoulders.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that fight that he had with Lampinen where he was just gushing blood and like just no second thought about what's happening to him. He's just marching forward and put the fucking beating on this dude.
Yeah, so, we have to enjoy him while he still has brain cells left, right?
I don't know.
That style has a very short shelf life,
Yeah. I mean, once he gets knocked out, like, it'll probably be a strong downslope from there.
This is probably this might be like the highest tier fighter that he can like pull this style on, like realistically. So maybe let's just go to the well one more time on Gus.
Ride it till the rails fall off.
Yeah.
All right, we got Brad Tavares taking on Robert Bryczek. I mean, this is just a matchup I never thought would actually happen. Like, this, I don't know where the matchmakers came up with this one, but I do know that Brad Tavares got cut after his last fight against GM3, and then they uncut him and they re-signed him. So I mean, Are they giving him a layup here? Or are they trying to set him up with a European guy over in Paris that they think they could market with? I don't really think so. Because like Robert Bryczek is not really, I mean, he's what, 35, 36? He's had one UFC fight against Potieria. Looked terrible. And honestly, it looked like the dude wasn't on the sauce anymore. You know, he was coming into the UFC with like round 1 KOs 5 in a row, I think, and he couldn't really do much against Ihor, who's not good. But Brad Tavares at this point in his career, I mean, he's just serviceable. So I can't really say I'm super excited about Brad Tavares in this spot. You know, he's got good takedown defense. He's got good leg kicks. Boxing is, you know, sharp, but he can be tagged on the feet. Got good cardio, though. So, I mean, unless Bryczek bonks him in round 1, I think Brad probably wins it. But I'm not really interested in betting Tavares as a minus 200 favorite. What about you?
I agree with you. I think this matchmaking is fucking stupid, honestly, because these are two guys who can at least provide some sort of gatekeeping quality to them. Tavares, you know, would be a gatekeeper to like maybe the top 25, top 20, and Robert would be gatekeeper to being UFC caliber. You know, if you can't beat Robert, then you probably don't belong in the UFC. And then if you can't beat Brad, you don't deserve to be in the top 20. But like matching them up here, it's like, it's not even like I guess it could be an exciting fight, but I don't know. I agree. It's very weird matchmaking. It's probably a dog or pass situation, you know, considering Tavares has looked pretty bad over the past few fights, but I personally can't put any money on this Robert guy. I think he's awful. Like going back and watching that Ihor fight was just like, I know Ihor might not be as bad as some people think, but he's not great. Like if you can't beat him, you're probably not UFC caliber also. And it's like, Ihor doesn't beat anyone by decision. Like, and the stuff that he was doing to Robert was just, you know, just like jumping around and doing weird kicks. Like I can't put money on this guy. I can't really find a great betting angle that I feel good about putting my money on or telling other people to put their money on it. Do you see anything?
Not really, man. Like I'm looking at this one, and the only thing that could really pique my interest is like Bryczek round 1 KO. But like,
yeah,
I really don't think it's a high probability. I mean, it's plus 800. You'll probably get like 10 to 1 on some other books once they open them up. But like, I don't know, man. This is just probably a pass. I'm really just trying to figure out why this fight was made. Honestly, knowing that they cut Brad Tavares and then re-signed him, like this might be like okay, we're sorry. We're sorry.
Yeah.
We'll give you Robert Bryczek because it really just doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, Tavares should beat him. He's losing to, you know, higher level guys. Granted, he did get knocked out against Bruno Silva, but
Yeah.
I know that's not aged well, but like Bruno Silva just kind of hit him with the perfect punch. So to your point, yeah, I think plus 800 on that round 1 KO is probably the best thing that you can play on this fight.
Like, I think that's probably his win condition.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're talking a plus 175 underdog, his win condition's probably around 1 knockout. You get it at plus 1,000. Is it really that bad? Like, it might be worth a sprinkle, but probably one that you would look at and think you're going to throw it away.
Yeah.
So that's like, this is just a weird fight for me. So I might just take a shot on something big or just pass overall.
Yeah. If Tavares looked a little bit better against Gerald Meerschaert, but I would say, you know, hit the under, but like, dude, he couldn't even finish GM3. So
yeah, I mean, then look at how Lord McCall did.
Yeah.
You know?
GM3 looked so washed.
Now, and that was in a small cage too. It's like, I mean, there's nowhere for GM3 to go. You know, you should be able to knock him out.
That was a bad look.
Very bad look. Round 3 decision, Dogfather. This could be one guy Tavares finishes. That's true. I mean, when was the last time Tavares finished somebody? I mean, he couldn't finish Weidman.
He dropped Park, didn't he?
I don't think he did. I thought.
Yeah, I'm
Did
pretty
he?
sure he dropped Park.
I gotta look this up real quick.
Yeah, who is the last person Tavares finished?
Brad Tavares. The last.
Jocko?
Yeah, round 3.
Jocko in 2018.
Damn. They
I
didn't.
mean, he has fought some pretty decent guys.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, his competition is solid. So I mean, you can't really knock him too much. But yeah, I mean, these are all really durable guys. Outside of maybe White.
What's Tavares by sub? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but
Tavares sub.
it's got to be. If it was like 30-1.
18.
Oh, okay. I could see maybe like a
20
club and sub here, like 2-3. I don't know. I got to think about that one a little bit. Because Robert is just so one-dimensional as a boxer. Like, I mean, Tavares never grapples, but like he's got to be training some grappling. I don't know, man. That would just be a Hail Mary.
Over under. I mean, the under 2.5 is +160, +170. Does that interest you at all? No.
What is it? Over on
+180 is the best I'm seeing right now. Under 2.
Wait, under?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I'm kind of surprised it's that big, honestly.
It's probably just because Tavares,
yeah.
Tavares, has like what, 1 or 2 finishes in the UFC, maybe 3.
I mean, freaking Robert got round 1 finished by Kike Brito, who's like a decent regional guy, but he's not that great.
He's an aggressive Brazilian, though.
Yeah, he is. He is.
All right, let's move on. Better fight here. We got Sam Patterson taking on Trey Waters. Patterson made me look like a fool his last time out against Danny Borralho. I'll never forget it because I had posted a couple videos on Danny Borralho getting a knockout against Sam Patterson. And everybody was like telling me, nah, Sam Patterson subs. He's going to go in there and submit him. And then he just fucking knocks him out. So we were both wrong. Everybody that hated on me, you didn't expect Sam Patterson to go in there and knock him out. But he did. And that's very impressive. Now he's on a 3-fight winning streak after losing his UFC debut and 3-0 in his new weight class of 170. Trey Waters comes in here off the win against Billy Ray Golf. Very close fight. Hell of a fight, though, at that. And I believe he had a knee injury in that one. I think he might have tore his ACL or his MCL. Can you confirm that, Pepe?
Yeah, he posted on IG that he got ACL surgery and that he tore it in round 1
against Billy. Okay, yeah, that gives him a little bit of some leeway because I mean he still won the fight with one leg. I mean these are 2 tall ass welterweights, and Sam Patterson has used that tall, lengthy build to snatch a lot of submissions. But coming off the knockout, that's good to see. And Trey Waters is more of a boxer, low hands, throws a good amount of volume, kind of defensively irresponsible at times, but he gets away with it because he's so tall. He can just kind of lean back. I'm interested to hear what you got to say on this one. I'm not really passionate about either side because I've been low on Sam Patterson. And I don't want to buy in now that he's the favorite against the guy in Trey Waters that I don't think is all that bad. So what do you got to say?
Yeah, I think that this is another one where you take the under in this fight. I think it's pretty volatile. I think it's hard to get a really good read because Patterson hasn't gone more than a couple minutes since going up in weight. So people are going to be quick to say, oh, his chin is a lot better at 170. But we haven't seen him outside of round 1. And he beat Johan, Kiefer Crosby, and Danny Borralho. All of those were within 3 minutes. So we haven't seen his chin tested that much. His striking defense is still suspect. But I do think that he has a higher ceiling as a prospect than Trey Waters. I'm not super high on Trey. I think that he has kind of gotten away with fighting a lower level of competition. He hasn't looked that impressive. Although I will say, digging deep and beating Goff with a torn ACL, got to give him some credit. But if you go back and you watch some of his LFA fights, like he's not throwing any volume. He gets like a random knee knockout in round 3 in a fight where he was controlled against the fence for 12 minutes straight against Benjamin Bennett, who was on Contender Series. And then he fights Jalen Fuller, who is, a regional guy. Round 1, he throws nothing. He's not doing anything. And then Fuller's a bit chinny, and he lands a counter in round 2 after getting rocked and knocks him out. So I think his grappling has not been tested. I will say his takedown defense looked good against Goff, but how good is Billy Goff really as a grappler? I think Sam Patterson is a different level when it comes to grappling and jiu-jitsu, and we have not seen Trey Waters tested at that level. So to me personally, I think you have to make Patterson a moderate favorite because of that. But the risk is that we haven't seen Patterson fight more than a couple minutes at 170. But I definitely think Patterson is the side, but I would rather play under because I don't want to get involved laying a bunch of juice on Patterson and he gets chinned a couple minutes into round 1.
Yeah, I played the under 1.5 in that Borralho fight, so at least I had something going there. And I don't think it's a bad look, going back to the well. I mean, the under 1.5 here is plus 153. If you get the under 2.5, you'd probably be laying like a little bit of chalk, but I think the under 1.5 could be super live too at nice plus money at plus 153. I mean, Sam Patterson I really don't think his defensive flaws have been fixed. He's still pulling back with his chin straight up.
Yeah.
Backs up on the center line, doesn't really circle out or anything. And it's 2 wins against Lioness and Kiefer Crosby don't really say much to me, but we do know he's a good grappler, and I do got to give him credit. In his early career, he wasn't fighting in Cage Warriors; he's fighting in Brave. So I mean, he's facing mostly Russians there, and he's still getting some good submissions. So I mean, I do think his jiu-jitsu is nasty, and I don't think Trey Waters is going to be on his level if the fight hits the mat. But I do think Trey could hurt him. So I do kind of like that angle, under 1.5 plus 153. Or if you want to go to the alternate, I'm not sure what the line is. I don't think there's anything out right now.
I think that Rivers had minus 190 for the under 2.5.
Damn.
And yeah, I mean, I get why it's chalk though. Like, look at Patterson's record.
Yeah.
This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
7 fights in a row where he's gone, where he hasn't been to round 3.
Yeah, because I think he subbed. He subbed Vinicius Sensi. Sensi's not a bad grappler either.
Yeah, he subbed him in round 2. Yeah, he hasn't gone to decision since 2021, and yeah, I think that he's a good, like, clearly he's got power in his hands. And he's a good grappler. He's got very high level submission skills, and he's got no striking defense. I don't see how the under is bad. Like, and the thing is, like, Waters has gotten rocked a bunch in fights, and he just hasn't gone finished. So Trey is definitely due to get knocked out also.
For being how long he is and tall he is, he literally, like, hands low, like, kind of leans forward. He's kind of baiting you to throw so he can counter off of it. And this is probably the tallest opponent that he's faced. I mean, Jalen Fuller's pretty tall, 6'2". But Sam Patterson can crack as well. So I mean, I don't think that's a bad look. Might actually play that. You might have talked me into it, taking that under.
Yeah, I like the under.
I'd rather be on that than a side here. Patterson sub is what, plus 190?
I wouldn't play that just because, like we said, the KO with Waters getting rocked multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's the KO? That should That's what we should look at. Oh, plus 500. It was like 12-1 against Borralho. So,
yeah, I played Patterson there at plus 260, and I'm going to be fully honest. I thought that he was going to win via grappling. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, that's the good part about having plus money, though. You get it done either way. All right, we got Harry Hardwick stepping in on short notice, taking on Keita Fernandes. RZM is out. RIP to his grandma. And Harry Hardwick steps in. I'm not really a big fan of the Hardwick brothers, but I do think Harry's the better Hardwick brother because George has dropped the ball a couple times, specifically on the Contender Series, I think a couple years ago when he lost to Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. Made him look like fucking Floyd Mayweather out there. And then he lost to that Samuel Silva dude who got knocked out of the Contender Series last night. But that's not Harry. So I can't really, give Harry a bunch of shit there. And from what I've seen from Harry, he's very similar to George Hardwick. I mean, they're pressure guys, a lot of boxing, good combinations, pretty solid grappling. And they've been running the Cage Warrior scene. And he finally gets his shot here against Keita Fernandes. Very impressed from Keita Fernandes. Because when he came to the UFC, I didn't really think he was going to be much at all. I thought he was going to be one of these middling Brazilian guys, but it seems like he's working his way up. But you also got to look at it. It's Muhammad Yahya. He handled business there against Yahya. And then he handled business against Guram, but Guram might be a ghost of what we thought he could be. So back-to-back wins for Fernandes. And he was supposed to be a huge dog. Now he's a favorite, taking on the newcomer. What do you think?
What's the line on the fight? Minus 160 Fernandes.
Yeah. Where to go?
I can understand why he is the favorite because Hardwick is coming up in weight and it's short notice.
Yeah.
Hardwick is coming up, right?
Is he? Yeah. 145. He's up.
He's a pretty small guy, dude. So that's something that I am a little worried about. But like Kawi, I think Kawi's the guy you'd rather bet as an underdog than favorite, right? Like,
yeah.
Hardwick, he's super hittable and he doesn't have great skills and he lacks physicality. But what he does have is he has a lot of heart and he has good pace, good pressure. And Kawi has, 8 minutes of cardio. Like his kicks are very good. I actually thought that Kawi was going to give Ziam some trouble in this fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was going to win, but I think it was going to be competitive. Because I think he can be competitive with a lot of people. But I think being competitive is kind of as far as I would go. Like, I don't really see him dominating this fight. What's he going to do? Just leg kick him to death? Like, he can win by landing the bigger shots and he's going to counter him and he's going to land leg kicks. But I could possibly also see Hardwick just not fucking off and gas pedaling him. And stealing the fight also. So I wouldn't be laying the juice on Fernandes personally. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, if this was Hardwick on a full camp, I'd be more intrigued. He wasn't training for a fight, was he? No, he wasn't. So, I mean, because like one of his best weapons is cardio and pace. And like Fernandes, I think is a motherfucker for 7.5 minutes, but then after that, it's like he had Guram finished, dude, and like he couldn't finish him. Like he had no real threat coming back at him in those last 7.5 minutes of the fight, and he couldn't finish him because he was slowing down himself. And I think Hardwick, weaponizes the cardio and pace because he does have good boxing combinations, man. Like when he gets you up against the cage, he lets his hands go, rips to the body, nice. But that's against Cage Warriors, guys. Man, like I'm the biggest hater of Cage Warriors. I just think they're all shit. Like they get such easy matchups. And he did face this one dude, Kewani Lopez, last year, who I'd known from the regional scene, who's kind of like Kawe, like a motherfucker in round one. And then he just kind of falls off a cliff. but I think Kawhi's a little bit better, and Hardwick handled business there. He was hurt in round 1, but he battled through it and pulled away as the fight went on. I think early Fernandes could find a finish here, but am I that confident to play him as a favorite? Not really. I'd probably look for like a Fernandes 1-2 type of bet on Fernandes. We don't have any odds for that right now, but they got the over under set at -205 for the over. So, I mean, they think it's going to go to decision, and I don't know that I would really, want to be having the chalk at -160 on Fernandes if the fight goes to decision. So,
yeah. Well, how old is Harry?
20. The fuck? Tapology doesn't have his age.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was. He's like what, 27, 28?
He was born in 1994. 31.
Okay, he looks younger, but
he's almost 31. Yeah, I got.
Yeah. So I don't. His scope for improvement is pretty low at 31. Yeah, I don't know about this one, to be honest with you. I think Hardwick live would be the way to go. But I wouldn't want to bet Kawhi at chalk personally.
Yeah, I might look at the early props for Fernandes, see what those numbers are, but can't really.
My issue is he's just so low volume.
Yeah, but Hardwick, I've seen him hurt early on in fights, and this is short notice, getting his foot in the door. Like, he's guaranteed a certain amount of fights after this. And Fernandes he does hit hard, man. Like, his leg kicks are nasty. Hardwick's a boxing type of stance. Like, it could go down quickly.
Dude, you know what impressed me a lot about Kawhi was he can leg kick out of both stances. Like, when Guram would switch to southpaw when his leg was just completely fried, like, he was firing leg kicks from southpaw too. I was like, wow, this is incredible. So he's still adding skills to his bag. So, maybe he looks even better. That's why I was telling people, they were like, oh, Ziam should be -500. I was like, I would pump the brakes on that. Like, I think Kawhi's going to be competitive here.
Yeah, I thought he would win early on against Ziam, because I think he's more of like a technical guy. He's got to feel you out. I thought Fernandes would just be more like physical in round 1 and could take it, but I didn't know how it's going to play out after that.
Well, another path to victory for Hardwick is the takedowns too, but I think, like I was saying before, he kind of lacks physicality, and I think I haven't, like, he's gotten takedowns, but I don't really know how good his wrestling is. And Diakese had to work pretty damn hard to get him down. Dude,
Diakese was like shooting for his life, like holding on for his life in that fight. And if he didn't get those takedowns, he would have lost. And he got a takedown every fight or every round and still barely won the fight.
I think he hurt his knee really bad too in that one, and it was probably from one of the Kawhi's leg kicks, man. Like,
probably. His leg kicks are disgusting.
Like, I know. Yeah.
He sent Muhammad Yahya into like the orbit with like a leg kick. I was like, what the fuck? All right, let's move on from that one. But Fernandes early on for me. It's an interesting one. We got the heavyweights, Marcin Tybura taking on Ante Delija. And Ante Delija coming in here, most of his career was in the PFL, or at least the best years of his career were in the PFL. He was the 2022 champion, I think it was. And then at the time, I think the PFL wanted to sign Francis and have Ante Delija fight Francis Ngannou. And then Delija had some injuries. He fought Maurice Green, had an injury during the fight, won the fight against Maurice Green, and ultimately didn't make the playoffs, but he had an injury, so really wouldn't have been able to fight at that time. And ultimately, Renan Ferreira won that season, and that's why Renan Ferreira fought Francis Ngannou. But I think Delija was the guy that they wanted to face him because he was the champion, and they want him to go back-to-back. And then Delija comes back a year later, fights Valentin Moldavsky. And I don't know if you've watched that fight. I'm sure you probably have, but it looked disgusting. It looked terrible. The guy looked like he did not want to be there. And Valentin Moldavsky isn't like some world beater by any means. And since then, he's had one fight against Jorgen De Castro, knocked him out in like 40 seconds, if that, which doesn't really tell us much. But he's a training partner with Tom Aspinall in that region. He's a Crow Cop guy for a very long time. So he's been in the sport for a long time. And these guys actually fought 10 years ago in 2015. And Delija broke his leg, kicking Marcin Tybura with a leg kick. Broke his leg like Chris Weidman, like McGregor, like Anderson Silva. So now he's coming in making his UFC debut against the number 7 heavyweight in the world. And honestly, I don't understand the line. I mean, I understand it to some degree. The line right now is pick 'em, -110, -110 on both sides. And I just don't understand why Marcin Tybura isn't like at least a clear favorite. I mean, I feel like he should be a favorite here against Ante Delija. More UFC experience, fought way better level of competition. And honestly, I think he's more in his prime than Ante Delija, even though he's older. Because Tybura's active. He's getting wins against young and up-and-comers. And Ante Delija, I think, might be super washed at this point. We're gonna be able to find that out this Saturday. Because I think he's going to be alive for an early knockout. But he's getting knockouts against PFL heavyweights. PFL heavyweights are terrible. Like, they are really bad. And Tybura is at least facing the top of the food chain for a long time. UFC debut for Delija at Pick'em against Tybura, the number 7 heavyweight in the world. I think Tybura should at least be like -150, -160 here. Am I crazy, or what are you seeing?
No, I wouldn't say you're crazy. I think, there's a few different ways that you can look at this matchup, but the reason why I actually favor Delija is because I think he's a lot faster than Tybura. Tybura has been looking slower and slower, and he was already a slow heavyweight to begin with. How old is he now? 39 years old. He's getting rocked in every fight. Like, it's been a while since he's been KO'd. I mean, it was Aspinall, but he did go on that little run where he got knocked out multiple times and seemed to have a chin issue. I don't like the Denise fight. It was he gets rocked immediately, and then against Mick Parkin, he looked terrible, and I think most people agreed that he was very fortunate to get that decision. And I give Delija's 4 years younger. I think he hits a lot harder than Tybura. I think he's a lot faster than Tybura. So I give him like way more early finish upside. And then even last fight, like against Parkin, who is, not the greatest by any means. Like, he's meat and potatoes kind of heavyweight. Like, Tybura gets taken down and he's just like lost on his back and like couldn't get up for shit. And, people are saying Tybura has a grappling path, which I agree. He does. He could wrestle, but, I think Delija could also wrestle Tybura and get top time. Like, his ground and pound is pretty damn nasty. Like, the sequence that he finished Freire with to win the $1 million was pretty impressive to me. But, they say money changes people, and he won that $1 million. Maybe, he stopped training as serious. We all saw what happened to Felipe Lins after he won his first $1 million. So I think it's a volatile fight, but I'm actually going to side with Delija.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's out of money. He's going to come back and start fighting like Felipe Lins did once he went broke. But
well, dude, I remember when the UFC's been wanting him for a while, because I remember he was first booked to fight Cyril Gane in 2020 during COVID. And then there was some PFL contract issues and he didn't get to fight. And I remember I was I was pissed because I bet Delija against Gone at like plus 300. He probably would have definitely lost, but I don't know. They've had their eye on him for a while now, like you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like crazy about Tybura as like where he's at in his career, but honestly, I haven't seen anything from Delija in his last few fights that tells me like he is what he once was. So that's why I think he might be he might be washed. But it's a good opportunity for him. I'm just gonna side with Tybura because the UFC experience, and I think he's fought way better competition than Delija. So
That's for sure. That's for sure.
What was the odds? There we are. Yeah,
Yo, I think one of the issues that was giving Delija issues against Moldavsky was Moldavsky's just so much faster than him, and he might have had like a leg injury.
Yeah,
he seemed to be favoring his leg, and weird shit happens in PFL because they're like obligated to fight. So people going injured all the time, and if they don't have like a ton of time in between fights. So I'm personally not holding that one super against him. Moldavsky was just way faster than him. Tybura is moving pretty fucking slow these days.
Interest being a engaging split decision. It could be a sloppy split decision. Do they have that out? Delija split plus 1100. Tybura split plus 900. There you go. There's your degenerate bet right there, Dixon. Tybura, man. I mean, he is fucking ugly.
Dude, the polls are I think I bet against all. Oh no, I haven't bet against all the polls, but I'm against 2 out of 3. Yeah, we'll get to the other one later.
The best Polish fighters now are fucking the Olszewski brothers.
Oh yeah,
outside of Gamrot, I guess. But all right, let's move on. We got Umar C coming in against Brendan Ribeiro. Ribeiro got knocked out again his last time out against Mirzakhanov. Stepped in on short notice, though, I believe, and I think he was just getting sent to get slaughtered out there. Umar C, everyone's favorite fighter after his last fight against Alonzo Menafield. Terrible performance. I was there in attendance and very underwhelming from both guys. And I thought he lost 29-28 as a huge favorite. I think he was, minus 800 in that one, somewhere around there. And now here he is as a minus 500 against Ribeiro. I look at this one and I think this is a clear bounce back for Umar C because Ribeiro's a glass cannon. He could definitely crack you with something, but I don't really think Umar C is a guy that is very easy to hit. I mean, he doesn't really absorb that many significant strikes. Ribeiro, if he gets hit, he usually goes down, and his takedown defense is literally 0%. So I think this should be a clear Umar C victory, and I think he should be able to finish him. What do you think?
How do you envision him finishing Ribeiro? Because for me, this is kind of a tricky fight to get a read on the total because I think Umar C is going to win. I think it's pretty safe as far as obviously Ribeiro could bonk him early. So I wouldn't go fucking crazy and put him in everything or put 10 units on him or anything like that. But I would feel safe parlaying him with a few things if I wanted some degenerate action. My issue is I don't know if he's going to win a 30-27 or if he's going to ground and pound finish him or if he's going to work for a submission. It's tough to really get a read on the method of victory. Do you have a good read on?
I think he's going to take him down early on. If he doesn't go and try to wrestle in round 1, I don't know what his camp is doing because Ribeiro can't stuff a takedown, dude. If you get on top of Ribeiro, Magomed Gachi Azulov held this guy down and won a fight. So, I mean, Umar Sy, I think, is a much better athlete, much better grappler, more dangerous grappler than him. I think you should be able to go in there and take him down. And it could be a TKO, it could be a sub. Like at that point, it's like a coin flip. But I think it could be a TKO just because I don't think Ribeiro is like terrible on the mat, but I don't really see him giving up like some easy rear naked choke. Like I think it's probably.
Has Ribeiro, when's the last time Ribeiro was submitted?
I think it was early.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was looking at it early. I think he got rear naked choke and like some other one, but I did see a rear naked choke.
Yeah, it's all his finish losses are KO ones, but fucking Umar Sy's striking is so bad. I don't even know if he could knock him out on the feet. That's why I'm not really sure if he's gonna like carry him to a decision and like, Umar takes him down but can't find the finish but dominates for 15 minutes.
Here's the thing. I gotta pull up UFC stats just to
the 0% takedown defense.
Well, that, but also so his last two fights, right? Dawoon Jung, career takedown defense 75%. Umar Sy still got him down twice. Alonzo Menafield, career takedown defense, 78%. Umar Sy still got him down once, 1 out of 5. 0% takedown defense for Brandon Ribeiro. Like he's going up against a couple of light heavyweights that historically have pretty good takedown defense. His last two fights. You look at his other fight against Tuco Tokos, not great takedown defense. Took him down, submitted him round 1. So, I mean, I just really think Umar Sy's grappling is going to be a huge factor here. And I think it could be a huge factor early if he's going to go to it. Like, I guess I got to trust that he's going to go to it. But I think if he gets him down, he's going to be able to put some work on him.
Yeah, I definitely agree that he's going to get him down. I think my question is, what is he going to do with him when he's down? Is he going to be able to, get mount and, get a TKO finish? Is he just going to kind of play it safe and ride him out for 15 minutes? Is he going to aggressively hunt submissions? So I think that's the true question of the fight and how you want to play it.
Yeah.
And how you want to, at least figure out what method of victory is going to be the most likely.
Yeah. We got inside the distance on him, minus 155, minus 135. That's not terrible. I mean, I really think he should be able to get a finish here, man. Like, it should not go to decision. I don't think Ribeiro's a guy that's just, like, willing to go to a decision. I guess maybe if he's fighting Gaji Azula, but...
Yeah, he's only 29.
I think it could be a good buy low spot on the inside the distance for Umar Sy. I mean, what was the... I should pull up...
I got to do a little more tape, but the only confident play I could give on this is Umar Sy money line.
What do you think about the spread?
Oh, that is actually good. The minus 3.5.
Yeah, I saw it at minus 250.
Yes, that's actually very good.
It's like you're cutting it in half.
Yeah, I like that a lot,
especially in like a parlay too. Even if you don't, if you just want to get like a minus 500, doesn't really juice up much of a parlay, but minus 250. How could I search this? All right, we're gonna skip that. I was gonna try to find the over under for the Menafield C fight to see what it was, but I couldn't find it.
It was probably it had to have been 1.5, man.
Yeah, and I feel like it was juiced to the under.
Yeah, because Menafield has a ton of early finishers too.
Yeah. I mean, under 1.5 here is plus 120. Like,
yeah, when you think about it, like Menafield was a tough matchup for him because of how elite his takedown defense is. I was just personally disappointed with Umar and not digging deep in round 3 and gutting it out.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't bet Umar. I didn't parlay him. He was too big of a favorite. I was kind of kicking myself for not playing Menafield, but I was disappointed for him not digging deep and at least, letting it all out. You could really tell he was super gun shy, and it was pretty pathetic. But yeah, he's gonna win this fight.
Yeah, it was disgusting. Gladly, I didn't have any bets on him either. Dude says Ribeiro by decision plus 1,800.
No way.
Is that really?
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's not gonna happen, but that's a crazy number.
That's a big number. C wins. I take Mia Khalifa by suck. There you go. There you go. All right, let's move on. Everybody's favorite fighter, William Gomis, taking on the newcomer Robert Rousselot. Gomis coming in here after his first L in the UFC. The Hyder Emil split decision loss at the Apex. So they said, all right, buddy, we got to throw you back in the big cage in France, in your home country, to take on a newcomer in Robert Rousselot. Rousselot's been in KSW. He's had one loss to Saladin Parnassi. I think that's how you say his name. Pretty solid fighter over there. So it's nothing to hang your head about. But Rousselot, to me, when I was watching his tape, I didn't really see anything that made me think like this guy's going to be a problem in the UFC. He's kind of an aggressive striker, a little bit wild, goes for the finish, kind of unorthodox. And when I look at this matchup, I think Gomis just going to be a little bit too sharp for him. And it's just going to be a little bit of a levels fight. But, Gomis a minus 270 favorite. So, I mean, he's a guy that kind of fights on slim margins at most points in his career. So you might be going to a close split decision, but I do think Gomis wins. He's sitting at minus 268 right now on Bet Online. I think the best you can get is minus 225. I don't know if that's a real number or not. Bookmaker? Around minus 250. What do you think about this one?
I think Gomis is probably going to win. Dude, he kind of reminds me of Caitlin Chukagian.
Yeah.
Like he's like the ultimate point fighter, super solid everywhere, very clean striking, decent grappling, pretty good at winning minutes. No real holes in his game, but he fights on thin margins, and generally he's going to beat, most people who aren't quite, maybe at the top 15. And you saw the style that gave him the most issue was Hyder Emil. And he kind of had like that Jessica Andrade style where just bum rush you. And, Andrade was able to have a lot of success on Chukagian, just like Hyder Emil was on Gomis. But I think Robert Rousselot is kind of in over his head as far as skills. I think Gomis is kind of better than him everywhere, especially on the technical striking. And I think he can fall back on his grappling here. I think Robert, but, that being said, Robert's clearly going to have some success because, Gomis always, is going to fight pretty thin. But I think at a pretty high clip, Gomis wins by decision here. In Paris, I think he's going to be fired up fighting in front of his hometown crowd. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if he got a knockout. He has been hitting a little harder, but I don't know if I would want to chase that prop either. Feel a lot better with the Gomis by decision. I'm not impressed with Rousselot. I think he's kind of a fraud. Like he's kind of high rolled a large majority of his career and kind of ran well as far as matchmaking, in my opinion. What about you?
I wasn't impressed. I think there's going to be levels to the striking. Like he's been a bit of a wild man, and it doesn't really look like there's much process to what he does in the cage. He's just kind of throwing some shit out there and hoping it lands, which could land on Gomis, but I think he's just too defensively responsible. I mean, Hyder Emil put such a pace on him, and I was actually impressed to see Gomis deal with the pace, not gas out, not really ever give him a chance to where he could start to unload. Like his footwork was still good for 15 minutes. Like his ability to fight off the back foot for 15 minutes is quite impressive because not a lot of guys could do that. So Yeah, I think Gomi gets it done. My decision's plus 110. You're getting plus money on a Gomi decision. That's not too bad. It's really not too bad against a guy that I think he should beat. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, the big cage is also really good for Gomis too, because he's kind of a footwork merchant.
I think his wrestling has looked better too.
Yes. Yeah, dude, he's only 28. Like, I get Robert is 27 also, so you want to leave room for him looking better than he has in his previous fights, but I've seen like, some good improvements from Gomis from fight to fight.
We got breaking news from Dick's Insider. Punahele Soriano will fight Nikolai Veretennikov, UFC 320 on October 4th. Your early leans. I'm going to go with Puna. Puna getting that one done. What about you?
That's a tough one, man. I guess I'll go Nikolai. I don't know. That's a tricky one, I think, to line.
One for the Kazakhs. Kazakhs have been trash recently.
Dude, well, he had a good win. He just got a good one.
I mean, is it a good win though? I mean, it's fucking Francisco Prado, dude.
People had high hopes for that guy.
Yeah, I was one of them. He just never fucking turned out.
Yeah, Nikolai is not that bad, man.
He's not terrible. Rousselot getting time at ATT with Gamrot for help and helping DP for his retirement fight. Will Robert grapple? I mean, even if he tries to, I don't think it's gonna work that well.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him getting like a takedown, but Gomis says good get ups.
Yeah, I mean, if Brito's not, out grappling in you, I don't think Rousselot's gonna out grapple him.
Yeah, like he might be able to have a little success, but not enough to sway the fight, in my opinion.
Gomis is big for the weight class too. All right, we'll get into the main card. We got Patricio Pitbull and Losine Keita kicking us off. Keita coming in here, double champ in the Octagon promotion at the 145 and 155 pound weight classes. Patricio Pitbull coming in off the win against Dan Ige, gets his first UFC dub, turns around fairly quickly to take on a newcomer here. The line right now, we got Keita coming in as a minus 212 favorite, minus 210, minus 220, around a minus, very short, minus 200. And Patricio Pitbull comes back around plus 180. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I think that it's a nice test for Keita. It's a great opportunity for him. Clearly, the UFC has pretty high hopes for him. Like UFC debut against Patricio Pitbull on a main card. Like,
yeah,
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for Keita to show the casual fan that he is legit. And I personally believe that he is going to rise up to the opportunity, and he is going to finish Patricio Pitbull and get a knockout in this fight. I think that the speed is just going to be too much for Pitbull. Pitbull's been hurt a bunch in his career. Keita's going to be way bigger than him, way faster. And I just love how, like, I'm not going to say reckless, but how aggressive he is. And he holds his power late too. So he can get it early. He can get round 1, round 2, round 3. And, when he lands, people feel it. I think Keita is going to find the KO at some point. And I think the plus 300 or whatever on his KO is a tremendous bet.
Yeah, I'm saying a plus 275 for the inside the distance KO. Right there, plus 300 for Keita KO. I think that's a solid look, plus 328 right there. I think that's a solid look because, I mean, Pitbull definitely past his prime. And, he got knocked out by some, I don't want to say rando in Ryzen, but not exactly some amazing fighter. And he's getting hurt in a good amount of fights as well. And I think there's a huge physicality discrepancy with these two guys. Like Pitbull's not some pushover, but this dude made 135 pounds to fight Sergio Pettis. Like he's not the biggest dude. And Keita's, running through guys at 155 and fighting fairly good competition, man. Like these guys that he's beaten in Octagon are not just some cans. Like they're, 14-1, 15-1. Like I don't think they're bad fighters by any means, but I do have to look at some of the faults with Keita. Like he can get taken down. He can be held down on the ground as well. He can be ground and pounded. So, I mean, if Pitbull wants to win this fight, I think he's got to grapple. His counter-striking style at this point in his career, I just don't think it really works all that well. Like the win over Dan Ige is good, but Dan Ige was – a lot of people were high on Dan Ige in that fight, and I had my worries about it. I still picked him to win, but, I mean, Ige's takedown defense has never been that good. His volume's never been good. He has, solid knockout power, but at times he just doesn't let his hands go. And Keita lets his hands go at all moments. Everything he throws is like with 100% power. So I think the physicality, the size, the speed of Keita is going to be a big problem for Pitbull. I like that KO prop for Keita. But if Pitbull can get his wrestling going, I think he's going to be a much better grappler than Keita. So that's why I'm probably not going to be laying the chalk on Keita in his UFC debut, but I do like the KO prop just because I think it's going to be super live, at plus 300. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Not everyone can be as genetically gifted as Lucien Keita. I think when you go back and watch the Ige fight, you can just tell there's like a huge athletic and speed difference between Keita, Ige, and Pitbull. And this kid is entering his athletic prime, and he's just operating kind of from a different genetic planet as far as athleticism goes. So I think his takedown defense looks pretty solid. When he's on his back, I've seen bad things, things that I'm not that you don't love to see when you're laying minus 200. But with the amount of KO upside that I'm personally giving him, and the speed advantage and the youth advantage, the volume advantage, like Pitbull's so gun shy these days.
So
shy. It's crazy. Like, I don't even know how he's going to win. Like, I get Keita is going to, he is counterable because he lets it fly once he's going, and he doesn't have a ton of regard for his head striking defense. But I don't think Pitbull wants to go chin for chin with this 27-year-old. And Keita's striking is so good, man. I love this kid as a fighter. I'm high on him. I think he's going to rise to the occasion here. And I don't think that he's going to be overwhelmed by the occasion, because those octagon cards are in front of huge crowds anyways. And so he's used to fighting in front of a huge crowd. This is the fight I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, Keita's, I mean, the fact that they're giving him Pitbull in his UFC debut tells you a lot, But, Aaron Pico against Lerone Murphy was a spot like that. And one spinning back out, well, things could change. But I think Keita gets it done. I'll take it by KO as well. All right. Ding Bets in the chat. Shout out to Ding. Keita round 2 KO. That could be nasty. What are the odds on that? If you had to guess the round, what do you think the most favorable round would be in your eyes?
I would say round 1.
Round 1? I think so too.
Yeah, round 1 or
round 1 KO plus 650. Round 2 KO plus 1,000.
I don't know how these people bet those props. Like, I feel like you're just guessing on like the round. You know what I mean? Like, just I get it's a long shot, but
yeah,
the KO number is
I
good enough.
understand like round one, because
Yes.
okay, he's probably gonna, most KOs do come in round one, or most finishes come in round one. So I mean that makes more sense to me. But like if you're just gonna play round two,
Yeah, I know.
you know,
That's just a funny shout out right there, honestly.
I understand like if you're gonna play 1-2 or 2-3, but like just one round out of all of them is interesting. Round two,
Yeah.
just put 25 on the Pitbull. Roofie round two is a lock, says T Swizz. We're almost there.
Lock City.
All right, we're moving on. We got Axel Sola taking on McKee. McKee gets his first UFC dub, and I'm not gonna lie, I was happy for the guy, dude. I was like, I want to say I was tearing up, but it's one of those feel good stories because McKee has had a rough UFC career, 0-4. He's getting some tough competitors. Goes out there and doctor stoppage after round one, dropped him in 3 times in one round. So a great performance from McKee. Just signed a new deal with the UFC as well. Got to shout that out. Axel Sola, UFC debuter here. He's been fighting in Aries FC. He's been fighting at 155. Now he's taking this on short notice, and he's going up to 170 to take on the 6'2" McKee, who has been vocal that he's been training for this date. So that is interesting. McKee comes in as a plus 111 underdog. Axel Sola comes back around minus 130. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's a fight that I've kind of been back and forth on. Interesting fight. We got Sola making his debut, coming over from Aries, and he has fought at 70 before earlier in his career, but the past few fights he's been fighting at 55. And this fight is going to be at 70, so he's coming back up to 170. He's taking the fight on short notice. He's fighting. It's a hometown fight. He's a French fighter, so you have to factor in some bias with potential judging in a fight that's probably going the distance, considering Sola is more of a decision fighter.
Yeah.
And then McKee on the other side, you look at him and the first thing I think about when I think of McKee from a gambling standpoint is he has bad grappling. And like, you never really want to bet on guys who have such a big hole in the grappling. But after like running the tape on both these guys and thinking about, the fact that he's coming up in weight, that it's short notice, and that McKee is only 29, he does look like he's improving a bit. Like, his defensive grappling looked a bit better against Chitty. I know Lusa took him down a bunch of times, but Lusa is a very physical 170 fighter. He gets nice and low on his takedowns, very explosive. And, McKee is just a dog, man. Like, he will fight until the bell. Like, that's so on one hand, you want to bet guys like that who have good cardio, good pace, good durability, and who will dig deep and fight for your money. I honestly think McKee is the side as an underdog. He's going to be the bigger guy. I want to see how they like the face-offs, how they measure up. It's not something I'm going to go crazy on because I just don't want to be frustrated like watching McKee getting taken down and Sola doing nothing with it, or riding the wrist and just like holding him up against the cage. But Sola has his flaws too. Like, I'm not super sold on this guy at all. Like, he's gotten dropped in multiple fights. He doesn't have great finishing instincts. He's fighting pretty close with a lot of these French journeymen. Like, yeah, he has a good amateur career and he's been fighting for a while, but I'm not that impressed with his past few fights. So yeah, I think McKee's the side, man, for me personally. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot on McKee as well. Because for one, I mean, he's going to be a lot bigger. For two, like, we know he's tough. He's durable. He's got 15 minutes of cardio. He doesn't have the best striking defense, which is not great, but I don't think Axel Sola is like some sniper on the feet. I don't think he really hits that hard. He might be a little bit cleaner. I think if it goes to decision and Sola's, keeping it clean, and maybe it goes his way. But I just don't think McKee's going to give him a clean fight. So, I think McKee as the underdog here is the side to be on. And one thing that I don't always, back, but in matchups like this, where you have a guy that's been through some tough fights against a UFC debuter, or even a guy that's had a couple fights in the UFC, but against low level competition or against guys that I don't really rate, like UFC experience means a lot in some of these fights. Like I think back to Shanghai, Charles Johnson, ton of UFC experience against some really tough competition. He's the underdog to Lone Air Kavanaugh, the prospect or whatever. Kavanaugh beat Ochoa and Dos Santos, pretty much the same fighters that can be grappled. And like Charles Johnson's seen everything, man. He's seen absolutely everything. And that was a spot that I think the UFC experience played a lot into that because, Kavanaugh was beating him up and then he started to slow down and Charles Johnson's not fazed by it. And then he takes over. And in this spot, I think it could be not the exact same, but I think, Sola might be a little bit more skilled, maybe more technical, could be landing some nice shots early on. And then McKee just doesn't fuck off and then just starts to take over and takes over the fight. So I think you're getting dog odds on the guy with more UFC experience, taller, longer, has finishing potential as well. I mean, McKee has 11 knockouts, 13 knockouts, something like that. So, I mean, all the signs to me point to McKee as the underdog against the UFC debuter. I think it makes a lot of sense. The KO prop, I wanted to see that because I know the over-under is, slightly shaded, -165 to the over. McKee KO plus 365. Like that's not bad. It could be a 2-3.
It's tough to figure out decision or KO because I can see both pretty clear.
Thing is, McKee's never won a decision, so that's he's 0-4.
He's due.
He's so due, exactly.
I mean, he lost to Chitty, but it was a split decision. Like I thought Chitty won the fight, but the fact that you're going to a somewhat close decision with Chitty, I think that's a good sign in my opinion.
That was such a weird fight, though. Wasn't there like a ton of cage push?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this one, I don't know, man. Sola has been rocked in so many fights. I could see McKee getting the finish, but I could also see him just dogging out and it being kind of like a super close back and forth fight and it, being a close decision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, realistically, that's probably the most likely outcome is, a back and forth close decision. But with how much Sola's been hurt, I don't fault anyone for being on the KO at all.
Yeah. I'm going to take a shot on the dog on the money line for sure.
Yeah.
Sprinkle on the KO.
Yeah. I'm not super impressed with Sola, man. He's what we like to call like a soy fighter, in my opinion.
Soy? Yeah. He does kind of look soy, man.
He doesn't land very hard. Like he's not very physical. He reacts kind of weird to getting hit. Give me McKee here.
I agree. All right, boys. We got four fights left. If you haven't already, please hit the like button for me. We're only at 36 likes on the YouTube live stream. We got over 200 people in the live stream. So make sure you hit the like button for me. If you're watching on Instagram, come on over to YouTube. I'm going to end the Instagram live chat right now. We got 4 fights left to break down. There's a link on my story to join the YouTube live. Make sure you go do that. Instagram is out of here. And we got some lovely people in the chats. Ding, you hear about your boy Dante Johnson fighting at 185. I did. I mean, I think he can make 185 pretty easily. He weighed in at 209. He could easily go down to 185. And I think they had him at 5'8" on the Contender Series statistics when he said he was 6 foot. I was like, dude, you are not 6 foot.
Huh.
Not a chance. McKee, Gomis, and Sam parlay. Love McKee.
Which Sam? Which Sam? Hughes or Patterson?
Yeah, that's true. Probably Patterson.
Yeah.
Over 1.5 on Sola McKee. I mean, you're going to be laying some chalk on that, bro.
Yeah, the total is 2.5.
Here to show love. Shout out to Aj. I appreciate you, Tony Urias. Give me Sola, says Tyler Frias. I mean, good luck, brother. Good luck fading two of the sharpest in the game, you know? All right, let's go.
Plenty of people like Sola. I can see why. It's just not for me.
Yeah, not for me either, man. I'm just not super impressed. All right. At the top of the show, we got the question, what fight are we most excited for? And I said this was the one for me. Borralho taking on Mason Jones. Oki coming in here after the win against Michael Aswell. He is now 2-1 in the UFC, only lost to Chris Duncan. Mason Jones, second stint in the UFC, coming off the win to Jeremy Stevens. 30-27 victory over the 39-year-old, I believe it was. Wasn't super clean, but he got it done, and he was a big favorite in that one. Here he is as a slight favorite against Borralho. What do you got in this one?
Yeah, dude. I gave out Oki as an underdog in this fight last week when he was at like plus 160. Really looking forward to this fight. I think it's definitely, there's like no chance this is not a banger. And the reason why I think Oki is the side in this fight is because Mason Jones has really bad striking defense and Oki hits a lot harder. Yeah, Mason Jones has fought the better level of competition. He's a little more well-rounded. But on the Oki side, he's more athletic. He's faster. He hits a lot harder. And I think this is the kind of fight where, like, I like betting underdogs who are still in their prime. So we're getting someone who's 29. He's 29, right? Yeah, 29. And people are somewhat low on him because of his Aswell fight. And I just kind of want to pump the brakes a little bit and not be as hard on Oki for that performance. He was a minus 800 in that fight. And, oftentimes when we get these situations where there's a huge favorite and he maybe doesn't perform as well as you expected him to, then the market underrates him in his next fight. And, Oki and Jones opened up as a pick, a minus 110 a piece. And I think that was spot on. I think it should be a 50-50 fight. I think Jones has some advantages. Oki has some advantages. Jones got dropped multiple times by Ludovic Klein. And say what you want about Klein, but who is Klein really finishing or like dropping? Not that many people. Like, Klein is good. He's solid. Yeah, but it's like I don't really think Klein is on like a way different level than Oki. I think this is definitely a spot where Oki could hopefully rises to the occasion, but the guy's 10-2. The guy is green. He's got some refinement to do, but he's training at a good camp. He's fighting in France where he's training. He's in his athletic prime. I think he's a physical specimen. He hits hard. He has shown pretty good cardio, pretty good pace to keep up with Jones. And what I noticed about Jones is in the Klein fight, like, once he got rocked and dropped, like, he kind of like checked out of that fight a little bit. He was, he was pulling guard in round 3. He was like, he wasn't really committing. So I think the power spooked Mason Jones. And I think that Oki can present those kind of issues too. Like, I like how I saw that Jones was also struggling against Klein out of southpaw, and Oki can strike out of southpaw too. That's where he caught him coming in, closing the distance with his poor head movement, and caught him and dropped him. And I could see the same thing here. So I like Oki as a dog.
Oki kind of reminds me of Chaos Williams a bit. I don't know. Like, just watching him fight. You know how Chaos Williams like throws. Like, he's so muscular and he throws almost everything into every shot that he like kind of stumbles like a little bit. Like Oki does it a little bit too.
He
Just like
definitely has some refinement to do.
yeah, like just a funny little tangent there. But I'm with you, man. I'm gonna take a shot on Oki because for a lot of the reasons that you said, I think Mason Jones' striking defense is terrible. I think he's a guy that tries to weaponize forward pressure and pace and cardio, but I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he's willing to walk through some big shots against Blagioki. Like, I think Oki's going to make him respect him early on in this fight because Oki hits hard, super athletic, very physical, and he has like, I don't want to say unlimited ammo, but like he's got a lot of volume. Like the fact that he went 15 minutes with Aswell and never really slowed down, threw 300 significant strikes, and landed like 120, 130. Like I think he can put a good beating on Mason Jones. But the only thing that does worry about Oki is I don't think he does the best when he is backing up. Like I don't think he's a guy that can, step back and counter with shots. I think he's a guy that kind of needs to be either in the pocket with you or the one moving forward. And I think Mason Jones, if he does get his game going, he could snowball it a little bit with the forward pressure. But I don't think Oki's going to let him do that because I think he's just going to hit him too hard. He's going to hit him too much to where Jones has to respect it. And Jones, probably isn't going to be willing to walk through the punches and the knees and the kicks from Oki. So I think Oki's going to get that respect. I think it is, sort of a 50-50 fight. And I think Oki could knock him out as well. I mean, Mason Jones has never been knocked out. So, I mean, that's, something that Jones has kind of relied on is his durability. But Oki hits hard, man. He hits hard. He rips to the body as well. He's right now at plus 115, plus 120, around that range. And I think he is the side here. I think Oki decision. I was looking at that one. 3-1 on Oki decision's not bad. But he could be very sweaty. If this is going to go 15 minutes, I think it's going to be a dog fight. And
yeah,
Oki's a guy that I would want to bet on as a dog, because I think he's very athletic, does have finishing upside. As a favorite, not so much. Like, when he was minus 700 or whatever against Aswell, I was like, not a chance in hell I'm playing that. But as an underdog, I think he's super live. I bet him as an underdog in the Contender Series against that Glory kickboxer guy and fucking ran through him real easily. So I've always had a soft spot for Oki, but I've had my questions about him. But now here is as an underdog against a Cage Warriors guy who I love to fade. So I got to pull the trigger. Blagioki for me.
Yeah, and he's going to be the hometown fighter. He's going to be who the Paris crowd are going to get behind. So, any potential swing of the judges with, louder moments, they're going to be rooting for him. Can't hurt, as an underdog.
Yeah. I think he did some training with Santini too. He was in that camp for like a few weeks in this camp, but Oki doesn't absorb shots as well as much as Jones. I mean, I guess, absorbing shots is a good thing to have, I guess. Jones wrestling going to steal the decision.
That would be his best path to victory, would be trying to grapple.
Yeah, I mean, he's used it against Onama, against Stevens, but it's not really like, I don't think it's all that great. I don't think it's amazing. And he doesn't really go to it unless he has to. So maybe he has to. But I think the physicality of Oki is going to be good.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be able to shuck off some of those takedowns.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so we're both on Oki there. Another one we're aligning on the dog. Here we go. We got Paul Craig taking on Modestas Bukauskas. Paul Craig coming in here as the underdog, as always. Bukauskas, a huge favorite. And usually not a guy that I would want to play as a favorite, but he is against Paul Craig. And there is some temptation there for me, just to throw the line out the window and say, Paul Craig just not winning UFC fights. But if there's anybody that could lose to Paul Craig, it's probably Modestas Bukauskas, because he's not exactly a guy that I think is the greatest fighter. But, he does have some improvements that we've seen. Just went 15 minutes with Kudalaba, who I think is way better than Paul Craig. But I think Bukauskas, if he's smart enough, just keep the fight on the feet, outstrike Paul Craig, do what he needs to do. But if he slips on a banana peel and falls on his ass and Paul Craig ends up on top, like it could be interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I think like as far as light heavyweight standards, I think Modestas is kind of another one of these soy fighters, in my opinion. Like,
agreed.
He kind of fights like almost like a WMMA fighter. But he's solid, man. He's solid. He's decent. He's kind of like, I would say maybe a gatekeeper to the top 15, maybe. He can beat these lower level guys, and I think Paul Craig is a lower level guy at this stage of his career. Paul Craig kind of went on like a miracle run to even have the amount of success that he has had. Like,
insane run.
I don't really think that would be replicated many times if we ran his career back. But, you know, looking at the lines for this fight, honestly, I kind of like the Modestas by decision, dude. It's like plus 300. I think that, you know, dude, he's minus 350 and you're getting plus 300 on a decision. Like, I get Paul Craig has been knocked out a lot, and, you know, Modestas has a couple finishes. Like, what did he finish Cerquera? But like, who else has he been? Oh, he submitted Pragnio, but like,
yeah,
dude, he's not submitting Paul Craig.
The arm triangle from
the
wrong side.
He set it up on the wrong side too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy, dude. I mean, they literally, I think they gave us plus money on Jimmy Crute to submit him.
Yeah, and that was just free as air.
Yeah, dude. I think Bukauskas by decision could be a look. I was leaning towards the over 1.5 at minus 134 because I just don't see Bukauskas going in there like laying hammers on him. You know, like I guess if he gets Paul Craig cornered, he could let his hands go. But
big cage,
yeah, big cage, and I think Paul Craig is actually kind of improved, like not absorbing damage. You know. Like you watch like a couple of his last fights, like against Borralho, you know, he's leg kicking him, moving around, bone nickel, leg kicking, moving around, body kicking. I mean, when was the last time he got flat knocked out against Borralho? I think, right?
Yep.
And I think that was over 2.5 or over 1.5.
No, just before the 1.5.
Damn, it was just before. But yeah, I mean, I think over 1.5 could be a look here because I just don't really think Bukauskas has power in his hands, and I don't really think he's very aggressive. I mean, if you're going to decision with Kudalaba in a mostly striking affair, like, I mean, Kudalaba's going to force the action. He's controlled it a little bit over the past couple of years, but I mean, he went to round 4 with Chuck Campbell.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I was just gonna say that he has one KO. How many? Yeah, he went to decision with Pauga, Tyson Pedro. He has one KO, and then even the Michaelides TKO was a retirement.
Yeah,
from elbows against the fence. Like, I don't know. I get like weird shit can happen in a Paul Craig fight. Like he's kind of a meme fighter, but like. Paul Craig's going to be wasting a bunch of time, like pulling guard and laying on his back, putting his hands behind his back and kicking up, you know, hate when people do that. But you have to be relatively careful with Paul Craig because you don't want the fuckery to happen. So, you know, I think it's going to limit volume, and Modestas already doesn't hit that hard. Like we were saying, he has one KO. Rafael Cerquera, a complete bum who's not close to UFC level. And other than that, he's not knocking anyone out. So I think it's a pretty generous decision line there.
Is this a safe space?
Yes, I hope.
I put USD on Cerquera against Bukauskas.
So did I.
Oh man, I mean that should tell you everything about what I think about Bukauskas.
Yeah,
you know. Oh, I mean,
Yo, I freaking Praknio almost knocked his ass out.
yeah. I mean, he rocked him with that head kick. I mean, fucking Praknio isn't even like a durable guy either on the feet, and like Bukauskas couldn't really hit him that much.
Yeah, I don't understand why the GTD is plus 250.
What's just fight goes?
250.
Oh, yeah, plus 250. I'd rather just take that than the fucking.
Yeah, you can't get greedy. Can't get greedy.
No, I can't tell you how many times I've lost it just betting one guy by decision at big odds, and then it goes to decision and they lose.
That's the worst.
Craig Subin coming, says Tyler France.
I hope.
I
would love to see it, man.
I can't believe Paul's in the UFC still.
Yo, you want to hear something crazy? Is he just signed a 5-year deal before this fight? A 5-fight deal. 5-fight deal.
That's nuts. I imagine he loses this. He's on a 5-fight losing streak. Loses 5 more in a row.
Yo, he's gonna rival Sam Alvey.
Yeah, he's going for Sam Alvey's record. I mean, he's probably getting good money. Like he's had 10 plus fights in the UFC. Like he's probably getting 100K, 150K.
Yeah, and he was fighting like higher level guys too.
Yeah, I mean he was when he beat Krylov, he was on a good streak there.
Yo, even the his Bo Nickel fight was on the main card of a pay-per-view. It was the Kyle fight?
That was main card.
Yeah. So he's been on a bunch of pay-per-view main cards. So yeah, he probably makes decent coin.
Yeah, I mean he was on a 4-fight win streak when he had knocked TKO Jamal Hill and submitted Nikita Krylov. And then it all came crashing down. Uzdemir decisioned him. Johnny Walker knocked him out.
All for Paul Craig to win by split decision here.
Yeah. All right, I'm with you. I think that over in the GTD could be nice. Brings us to the co-main event. Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Mauricio Houfi. Houfi coming in after the viral spinning heel kick to the dome against King Green. And got a lot of hype, of course. The fighting nerds, man. The fighting nerds. You know what I was thinking about before this live stream? It's just hilarious. I was thinking about Gustafsson. And I'm like, dude, we have literally the fighting nerds on this card. And then we have full retard Gustafsson. So like early in the day, you're going to see full retard. And then later on, we get to see the fighting nerds. Fighting nerds coming in here with only 1 loss in the UFC. If you only count the true 4. Mauricio Houfi still undefeated in the UFC. Benoit Saint-Denis, 1-2 in his last 3, knocked out by Dustin Poirier. And last time he fought in Paris, he got ran through by Money Moicano in round 1 in the main event. And his last time out against Prepelec did what he needed to do against Prepelec as a minus 1,200 favorite. He is the dog here for a guy that has been the favorite in most of his UFC fights. I think every fight outside of his UFC debut, he was a favorite. Actually, no. Bonfim was an underdog against Bonfim. I got to remember that one. But most of his fights, he has been the favorite. Here he is as a plus 155 dog to Mauricio Houfi. Houfi comes in at minus 180. What do you got?
This is a sick fight. Definitely pretty binary in the sense that Saint-Denis is obviously going to want to be pushing the grappling. And I think just macro-wise, I like Saint-Denis as the underdog in the spot. And I've already gotten a ton of hate because I posted the Saint-Denis play on Twitter last week. And, everyone thinks that Houfi is a lock. And, it's guaranteed that he's going to knock out Saint-Denis. And Saint-Denis has no striking defense. And, the thing is, man, like Houfi has fought like such a low level of competition, and like, yeah, he's clearly very skilled and he's a great striker and, very good at countering. And he has a fair bit of power, but his best win is Bobby Green. And like Saint Denis is going to test him in areas that he hasn't been tested straight up. And we're getting the big underdog at home against a guy who we have not seen fight off of his back. And I know for certain Saint Denis is going to fight for my money. I know for certain he's going to push the grappling. I know for certain he has 15 minutes of cardio. I know for certain he's fought the better level of competition. I know for certain he was minus 200 to Dustin Poirier. And, people are obviously very low on Saint Denis because of the Prepelec fight, where he didn't look great as a minus 1200, but he got the job done. He did what he needed to do. Did he get tagged up a bit? Yeah. But, that's kind of how he fights. And the Moicano fight, people think, Moicano is not that good. And since Saint Denis lost to him, it's like a huge indictment on his career. But I think people just don't quite understand the stylistic differences of the fight. Like, Moicano is an excellent grappler, man. Like, and I would have never laid the juice on Saint Denis in that spot. But here it's like we're getting the underdog. And yeah, granted, Hoofy's like very well fresh. He's going to be extremely dangerous, but this guy slows down. He lost round 3 to Lontop. He got dropped multiple times on the regional scene. He's been KO'd. So there's just some questions that haven't been answered yet on the Roofy side. And I don't know. I'm willing to go to war with the God of War in this fight. Like I think that he can cause some issues as long as he doesn't get deaded in round 1. But yeah, give me Saint Denis.
Dude, he can't lose twice at home. Says Doughboy03. Oh man, I love the chat sometimes because like it's so funny to read. Anyone going for Benoit has to have some French blood in them. Roofy free. What is it? Roofy's going to walk over him. You think the Fighting Nerds camp isn't showing Roofy everything BSD is going to bring to the table? LOL. This is hilarious. It's like I could see both sides of it. Like I think Benoit as the underdog is tempting because we don't know what Roofy looks like on his back because we've literally never seen it. Like you can go as far back as you want. You can't see Mauricio Roofy on his back. Like there's no tape of it. So we don't know what he looks like. But I do know like his takedown defense looks pretty good. His footwork and range management, I think is going to be tough for Benoit to get clean entries. I also think Mauricio is like a legit top 5 counter striker. Like he's elite with his timing and his precision and his accuracy. I don't really think he has like some amazing power, but I do think his timing is what gives him his knockout abilities. And I think he could hit Saint-Denis with a lot of those because Saint-Denis' striking defense is terrible. And when he shoots his takedowns early on, they're not bad, but once he has to start like going from range back to enter with his takedowns, they get a bit sloppy. I think the knees could be a factor here for Roofy. But it's kind of like a guess at the end of the day. Like, am I guessing Mauricio Roofy's ground game is bad? Then I'm gonna, take the plus money on Saint-Denis. If I'm guessing that his takedown defense is gonna hold up, then I'll be on Roofy. But to me, it's just not really one that I could be super confident in. And it seems like a lot of people are very confident in Roofy, and I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, you're kind of just disregarding an entire aspect of a fight that we have no proof to back it up with. So maybe I'm getting a little bit fed up with these like Fighting Nerds fans or these Roofy fans, but like it's like it makes me want to bet on BSD because they're like just so confident. You don't know anything about Roofy's ground game. Like I do know his range and his takedown defense is solid, but Don't know what his ground game looks like. And BSD is a motherfucker in the clinch, and he's a damn good grappler, and he's extremely tough. So it does kind of make me want to take a stab on BSD as the underdog, but I think I'd probably need like plus 180, plus 190-ish at this point. You know, where the line is at right now. Plus 155 for Saint-Denis. What did he open at? Plus 170. Yeah, I mean, that submission line, though, on BSD did look interesting, man.
Yes.
At plus 5. Yeah, plus 600. That's nasty, dude.
His back takes are extremely good.
Yeah, I mean, he has good jiu-jitsu. His back takes are good. His ground and pound is good. I mean, even in that Prepelec fight, like, he didn't look great. You look at the statistics, dude. He landed 54 significant strikes compared to Prepelec's 12. He had 3 takedowns and 2 submission attempts. Like, he worked him, you know?
Now people think he's a bum.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like a buy low on Saint-Denis and a sell high on Hoofy. But I do believe in Hoofy, like, in the future. Do I really want to fade him now? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll take a stab on that submission. What do you think about the total, though? Total is at 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 165. Under plus 145.
I don't really have a strong opinion on the total, to be honest with you. It's hard. I would say that the early finish equity is going to be on the Hoofy side more so than Saint-Denis. I think Saint-Denis could finish him with a submission early, but the way I imagine the fight playing out when Saint-Denis is having success, it's going to be cooking him late.
Mm-hmm. I could see him, like, the way he did Moises, I could see that happening here, but the problem with that is if you watch that fight back, like, Moises still hit him with some big stuff, and, like, Moises does not have good striking at all early on in that fight. I think if Rufy lands those shots, I don't know if BSD survives it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just that he didn't respect his power at all or anything like that, but it'll be interesting to see his game plan in this fight. Yeah, he didn't really. I don't think he respected what Moises was throwing back at him. Clearly,
not at all. BSD just barely beat Prepelec. What are we talking about?
Well, he finished Prepelec, so
yeah, he did. My comment got brutally faded. Love you and your channel, bro. It's all good for us. It's all in good fun. Prediction is too good, man. He'd be playing Clash Royale or something.
I don't know what that means, but
I don't either. BSD bum, says the dog father. BSD moves in slow-mo with his chin on a platter. Really not what you want to do against a guy like this, says Jack. Roofy by some spinning bullshit.
Well, 88% of Tapology is on Roofy, so I'm not surprised. I think
I'm not either.
You know, like, I understand like where people are coming from. I just think it's kind of short-sighted, and I think Saint-Denis is the sharp side. We'll see what happens.
We will. Gonna be a good fight though. BSD fights are never boring. All right, main event of the evening. We got Nasruddin Imavov taking on Kyle Borralho, another fighting nerd, coming in here after the win against Jared Cannonier, which I didn't even realize it until I looked at it, but that was like a year ago. I mean, he hasn't fought in like a year. And Imavov coming in here after the knockout victory over Israel Adesanya back in February, I believe it was. He has now won 4 fights in a row after beating Roman Dolidze, Brendan Allen, Jared Cannonier, and Israel Adesanya. Imavov comes in as the slight underdog, plus 110. Kyle Borralho comes back at minus 130. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this one's a very intriguing fight to break down. Both of these guys, what you notice about them is that they don't really have a ton of weaknesses or a ton of holes. And, you know, that's big reason why they're so successful and why they've been able to do so well. And work up the rankings. But in their styles, they're also not particularly dominant in any quite area. Like Imavov is obviously going to be slightly better striker, and Kaio is slightly better grappler, but they're both extremely well rounded. Both have good cardio. I wouldn't say great cardio, but Imavov has gone 5 more times than Kaio. The thing that first stands off the page for me is that Kaio has not faced the same level of competition. So, when you break these guys down, Imavov is going to show more flaws on tape because he's fought the better level of guys. Like maybe if Kaio fought Brendan Allen in MMA, he would show that he lost a round. If you go back and watch the Murdoch fight, he didn't look that great against Murdoch. He could have arguably lost that fight. He got reversed a couple times. He got swept. He ended up on his back. And Murdoch is not even in the UFC anymore. So, I do see that like it wasn't a great look for Imavov round 1 against Allen, like being on his back for 4.5 minutes. Like that's nothing. That's something you never want to see when you're not laying a price, but betting a guy against a guy who can potentially grapple. Because I do think Kaio's grappling is good, despite Muradov being able to sweep him a couple times. He was able to at least end the fight on top. And I think that there is going to be a potential for Kaio to grapple. Imavov, his takedown defense is pretty good. So I don't really know how much success Kaio is going to have. I just know that the option is going to be there. I think the biggest concern for me is with Imavov's style. He tends to give away a lot of minutes with his back against the cage. Yeah. And, that's something that like has kind of been sticking out for me, because you think about this fight, 25 minutes is a long time. And, I kind of struggle to see Imavov being able to separate on the feet in 3 out of 5 rounds. Personally, I think it's possible, but like, I don't know how likely it is. And I don't know how likely it is that he finishes. I personally don't think it's very likely that either of them finishes. Being that they're so well-rounded, there's not a huge weakness for them to exploit. They're both kind of volume fighters, don't have a ton of huge power. Like Imavov landed the perfect shot on Adesanya, who's getting up there in age. I think Kaio seems like a very durable guy. Cannonier did stumble him a little bit, so I do think it's possible that Imavov can KO him. That's probably the most likely finish in my opinion. But I think more often than not, it goes to decision. I think more often than not, it's probably very close.
Yeah.
When it's a close decision and you're getting the guy who's fighting at home in front of his fans in Paris, you kind of do want to go with the Imavov side, especially at underdog odds. But it's tough to pick him in this fight because of all the moments that he gives up, or all the minutes that he gives up against the fence. And then Kaio potentially having grappling success, the Kaio striking numbers, he throws a little bit more volume. So I personally think it's tough to get a read on a money line side. Just bet that goes the distance, in my opinion. Maybe you can talk me into one of these guys.
Yeah, I think the over is a good look. And before I watched tape, I thought I was going to be on Kaio, but then I watched more tape and dove into the stats a little bit more. And I think it's dog or pass. And I think I'm going to take a shot on the dog just because, it's plus 110. I think it's closer to Imavov minus 120, minus 130, or at worst a pick 'em, because I think it's a competitive fight. But I'm going to take a shot on the dog here on Imavov just because I think he has fought the better level of competition. He's been in a 5-round fight against Strickland, Delija, Cannonier, Adesanya. He took the loss against Strickland. Strickland was, I think, 10 pounds heavier than him. in that fight because he took it on short notice. It was up a weight class. And Strickland, as we know, in a 5-round fight is like that's his bread and butter, you know. And Imavov took his L there, and since then he's looked a lot better, in my opinion. And I think his striking is going to be useful against Borralho because Borralho throws a lot of kicks, and I think Imavov's good at countering those kicks, and he's very quick with the counters as well. I think Imavov has a speed advantage. I think he has a boxing advantage, especially in close. You know, he's very good at countering with one shot, just like he hit Izzy with that uppercut up the middle, hit Cannonier with those shots, dropped Delija badly early on in that fight as well. And then Borralho, you know, a reason that I was leaning towards Borralho is, you know, thinking of the grappling upside. But after I watched the tape and you look at the statistics, dude, like I really don't think Borralho is going to have any success getting a takedown here. Like, I guess maybe one time he could, but you look at who he's getting takedowns on in the UFC, it's Armen Petrosyan, who has a career 42% takedown defense, Michal Oleksiejczuk, who has a career 52% takedown defense, and Makhmed Muradov, who has a career 77% takedown defense, but he only took him down once. And Muradov actually got more takedowns than Borralho did. So I don't really think Borralho has very good wrestling, and I think it's kind of overhyped. But I do think his ground game is better, like his pure jiu-jitsu. I think it's better than Imavov's. But, you know, if he gets taken down by Borralho, I don't think it's like an instant sub. I don't think there's any real threat of that from Borralho. If that was the case, he would have been subbing a lot more guys, you know, in his early UFC career than he did. So I think it's a close fight. It probably goes to decision. And I think Imavov is going to be able to win with the moments. And I think Borralho is a little bit more hittable than Imavov. I don't really see how Kyle's going to be, you know, popping a jab at Imavov and Imavov's not going to be countering it. I don't see how Borralho is just going to get leg kicks for free. So I think Imavov is the side as the underdog in his home country as well. Borralho also cut weight 3 weeks ago to weigh in as the backup fighter for DDP versus Chimaev. So now he's got to fly across the world or across the ocean, cut weight again. You know, I mean, I think Kyle's a really cerebral fighter, but if I had to look at the 4 fighting nerds, I actually think he's probably the least talented. Like, just as far as God-given talents, you know, like he's not the fastest. He doesn't have the biggest power. I don't think his counter striking is on the level of Gene Silva or Mauricio Rufy. I don't think he has one-shot KO power like Carlos Prates. I think he's just very cerebral, very well-rounded, and going to be a top 5 fighter. I just think Imavov is the side here as the underdog. Kind of a long-winded breakdown, but I have looked a lot into this fight, and I think Imavov is the side. We'll see, but more than anything, the over is probably the best look.
Yeah, like another point, like his level of competition on his UFC run has been quite fortunate. Like he got that fraudulent Ghazi, Armen Petrosyan, who can't grapple, Makhmed Muradov, who's out of the UFC, who arguably won, Michal Oleksiejczuk, who can't grapple, Abus Magomedov, who's not like a top 10 guy, doesn't have 15 minutes of cardio, Paul Craig, and then he got Jared Cannonier. But the thing about the Cannonier fight was that was 2 months after Cannonier had fought Imavov. Like, what was the UFC doing setting Cannonier up 2 months after 20-minute fight against where he got TKO'd in round 4? Like, that was crazy. And so, like, I almost want to put an asterisk next to that. Like, that was clearly his best performance. Like, I do think that he looked good. His cardio looked solid. You know, he dug deep because he did get rocked a few times, and, you know, he could have, you know, cowered down a bit, but he did not. He stepped on the gas, which is what you like to see in someone who's facing adversity. But, Yeah, man. Definitely a suspect level of competition. I think Kaio is going to have success with the leg kicks early. Imavov is pretty heavy on that lead leg. But what I noticed is I don't, Kaio is more comfortable striking out a southpaw. So I think that after round one, he's going to probably revert back to southpaw. Um,
I
yeah,
think
I don't know,
I think
man.
if Borralho goes orthodox, I don't think it's going to go well for him.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to try to because he did it against Cannonier too, so that he could leg kick him early, and his leg kicks are a motherfucker. And like Imavov has gotten his leg chewed up a little bit in multiple fights now. He's dealt with it like decently, but even against Cannonier, he was getting chewed up as he was having a lot of success with it. So you think he's going to counter him over the top if he goes in orthodox trying to leg kick?
Yeah, because I don't think Kyle is very comfortable in orthodox, and the leg kicks in the Cannonier fight were mainly from southpaw because Cannonier would go southpaw with him just so he could hit him with a jab, and Borralho was just reaping his leg. And I think if Borralho goes orthodox against Imavov, like he's not going to be able to stay there for that long, and then he's going to be switching stances. And when he switched stance, your defense is off. That's exactly how Imavov hit him with the shot. Adesanya, I'm saying, hit him with the shot because he was switching stances so much. So I just trust Imavov's striking overall more than I do with Kyle. It's been tested at a higher level, and I've seen him, knock guys out at the same time. I don't think he's going to knock out Kyle though, because Kyle's head is like a fucking watermelon. That dude,
His neck is huge too, man.
yeah, it's huge. Like I think that's kind of a cheat code, dude. Like the guy's head is fucking huge. So over 4.5 though is minus 185. I don't mind that in a parlay at all.
Yeah, I bet the GTD too. I think it goes at a very high clip.
Yeah, I agree.
All for Imavov to KO him.
Yeah, I think I played the over against Izzy too. I was like, dude, Izzy's not gonna knock out Izzy. He fucking did. So there we go. All right, brother, we did it. UFC Paris is in the books. If there's anything you want to shout out right now before we hop out of here, now's your time to do so. I appreciate you for joining me and giving us over 2 hours of your time on a Wednesday night.
Well, shout out Zen.
Shout him out.
Shout out Zen, my sponsor. They wanted me to tell you guys to stop smoking, you degenerate fucks. Thank you for having me on the show. Hey, Jive, I appreciate it. Good luck this weekend. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can do that. Follow me. I enjoy giving plays out. I enjoy helping people make money.
Yeah, there's a link down in the description below to go follow Pepe on X. It's not Twitter anymore, bro. What are you, millennial?
I am a millennial, bro.
It's X now. But appreciate everyone joining in the chat. It was a good live stream, over 2 hours. Very excited to have some fights on Saturday after nothing last week. It's going to be a good card. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, we out.